And welcome back to another episode of the Office Dynasty League podcast. I am here, as always, with my co-host, Mac White.
Hey, happy to be here. It's been a long hiatus, but we're excited to get back to it. Today, we have a special guest for you. He's been on once before already. It is Mr. Jacob Hendricks, the farm runner himself. But he's done a lot of research into some of the 2026 draft. So we're going to go over some of his thoughts and research, and we're going to just give our feedback on it and see how it goes.
So I thought it'd be really fun to come on since I'm so new to the league and I'm totally kind of ignorant to the draft strategy of members. Also, the NFL draft hasn't even taken place yet. So, with kind of draft capital being the biggest indicator of a candidate's success, this is a great opportunity for me to give my opinions with absolutely zero weight to what I'm saying. All this is going to change after the draft. So I don't know your guys' draft strategy. I don't know what the NFL's draft strategy is going to look like this year. So this is just my 2-round mock draft prediction of how I think things are going to go with some notes on players. Just kind of a fun little thought experiment.
Now, a few questions before we get started. Jacob, is this a true mock draft or is it more of a big board?
So this is a mock draft. This is not my big board. This is who I think you are going to be drafting onto your team. So we're taking a little bit into account team need. I think any smart drafter is probably just going to draft the best player available, but we're taking into account some team need. And then through that lens, we're taking my big board of how I'm evaluating some of these players, kind of an aggregate of what other, dynasty podcasters or people are saying, and then putting that through the lens of our league itself.
Excellent. Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page before we got started.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you, these are my top 10 favorite guys. That's a little bit too showing of the cards.
Absolutely.
I already kind of I really feel like I'm exposing my soul to the ODL right here by giving, my raw opinions on these guys. So I'm not going to give you my evaluations of players, just how I think the draft is going to fall this year in our Dynasty League. And to be honest with you, I know pre-draft, I feel like I kind of Nostradamus to this thing. I feel like I would not be surprised if this is exactly how the draft plays out.
Jacob, I think you forget how, let's say, irrational some of our league members are.
It's impossible. This will be a rational draft. Only good decisions will be made. People will only be making decisions that I agree with in this draft.
That's how the ODL traditionally
10
goes.
Jacobs. All right.
10 Jacobs. That'd be a good league.
That would be something league.
That would be a miserable league. The smack board of that league would be full.
The league would end before week 4.
All right, so starting things off, round 1, pick 1 overall. So Dallas is up here, and everybody knows. There's not a lot of discussion that needs to happen around this. Jeremiah Love is really the only blue chip in fantasy football for this year. However, number 1 overall, I think it would be absolutely hilarious if Dallas picks not Jeremiah Love, but just whichever of the wide receivers is his favorite. So years down the road, he can say, actually, I got Jeremiah Love at 2. My league's so dumb, I got Jeremiah Love at 2, since he has picks 1 and 2. So we'll say that he takes Jeremiah Love at 1. There's not a lot to say about Jeremiah Love. Just excellent player. He kind of led this class with 6.66 yards per carry, which is just kind of insane for a prospect. I do think that in the Jeremiah Love hype, I think, is a little bit overblown this draft because of the lack of talent in other areas, and especially the weakness of running back in this draft as a whole. And so, honestly, if you were to compare Jeremiah Love to Ashton Genty, that I think is more of a conversation. Would you rather have Ashton Genty or Jeremiah Love? In this draft, it's a clear cut. Oh, Jeremiah Love's so awesome. But I think if he was in a different, stronger draft, there might be more of a discussion. I don't think he's a Bijan-like player. I don't think he's a Saquon Barkley type player. But at least in this draft, just excellent prospect. Oh, a really other great point I'd like to point out. He averaged 4.16 yards after contact. And so he's a guy that just kind of chugs along, which is amazing. And we'll talk about this guy later, but there is Jadarian Prince, or Jadarian Price, who is another kind of excellent running back, or at least a good running back. And so he split some carries with him. I think between the tackles guy, Jeremiah Love may not, be as incredible as some of your other backs. I don't think that his pass catching ability is the same as a Bijan Robinson. But in this draft, we spent too much time talking about it anyway. Clear cut, 1 overall. Again, I would love if Dallas took him number 2, though. That would be hilarious.
Now, remind me where Jeremiah Love went to school.
That's a great question, actually. So, it's a private college. It's small. Okay. It's small. In South Bend, Indiana.
Oh.
Anderson University.
Near Anderson University. Okay. Similar culture to Anderson of just hard-nosed ball. It would salt and light, Christian and academic exploration and education. So a dry campus. Notre Dame is also a dry campus.
Oh, Notre Dame. Okay.
Yes, it is Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame, Notre Dame, Little Irishman. Yes, went to Notre Dame. All right, so that's number 1 overall. I think number 2, also Dallas pick. So this is kind of when it gets interesting. There's a block of wide receivers that I think there is some debate over how we feel about all of them. Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon. All of those guys, we know in some order, picks 1 through 4 are going to be Jeremiah Love and those wide receivers.
We assume. You assume.
I assume, unless someone trades up, Lordy God, to draft Fernando Mendoza.
Somebody really wants a tight end?
Someone really wants a tight end. Who knows? I have here Dallas taking Carnell Tate. I don't think that's a huge shocker. I think that Carnell Tate is probably the safest of all of these wide receiver picks. I don't think he's the best prospect. I don't think that you're really ever going to expect Carnell Tate to be a wide receiver 1 on your fantasy team. But interestingly, kind of looking at Dallas's team, I know Dallas's, the Zits were better than my team, but a bottom tier team last year. But the talent on that team is impressive. And I think moving forward, Dallas is a team that people are going to be looking for. And so at this point, I don't really feel like he has to draft to ceiling. Because of the strength of his team, he has the luxury of being able to draft a floor. And I think Carnell Tate has the best floor here. Obviously, draft position is going to affect some of this. But I think Carnell Tate is the kind of player that can excel kind of in any offensive system that he's put in. I think that, he can line up inside. He can line up outside. I think he's a guy that I think he's a guy that people are going to feel really comfortable and safe taking. No one's going to make fun of you for taking Carnell Tate number 2 overall. I think a really impressive thing for him is, he has a career 75% catch rate. And so really, if you're throwing in his direction, he's going to catch the ball. And I think in the right offense, or just really in any offense, he's going to get you. I mean, he's not Amon-Ra. I don't think Amon-Ra is a great comp for him. But Amon-Ra is the kind of guy on your team, you don't expect him to score 30 points a week, but you can count on him to score 15 points a week. And that floor, that level of confidence that you have with the player, I feel like Dallas, again, has the luxury of being able to draft a floor here and take the safest pick in Carnell Tate.
Now, this would be his 3rd Buckeye drafted in 2 years.
It would.
There's nothing wrong with drafting a Buckeye wide receiver, though. That's maybe he's a big OHIO guy, the University of Ohio. Maybe he's a big guy. Yeah, you like that, John? Maybe. But I think this is a safe pick. I think that taking a Buckeye wide receiver, taking Carnell Tate, there are concerns with him. He never led his team in all years that he was a Buckeye with target share. I think that's kind of a concerning thing. You look at him and he never was the guy on his offense.
No knock against him based off who the guy was.
No knock against him. I mean, he's had some bad luck. Every year he's been a Buckeye, the guys on his team have just been better prospects or better players than him. One thing that I do kind of feel a little bit concerned about with Carnell Tate, and we'll talk about this as we go through the draft. So draft capital is the greatest you can just look at it. It's the greatest predictor of fantasy relevance. And so, first round wide receivers, especially early first round wide receivers, like Carnell Tate's predicted to be, they have successful careers. Simply because if a team is using a top pick to take this guy, they're going to feed him. They're going to give him target share. But another excellent predictor for success, especially not even like success in actual professional football, but in our pretend football that we play, is breakout age or breakout score. So breakout age, it uses what's called a dominator rating. Are either of you guys familiar with a dominator rating?
What's it doing to me?
Only from you.
Yeah, so a dominator rating is when you are considered to take 20 to 30% of the share of teams' yards and touchdowns. And so your breakout age is at what age you as a wide receiver take a dominator ranking. So at what age are you taking 20 to 30% of a team's share of yards and touchdowns? And again, there is the breakout age. That's just what determines that. A breakout score also takes into account strength of schedule and things like that. So like if you are at Ball State University and you're dominating target share, that's very different than if you're at Indiana University and dominating target share there. So one thing to look at with Carnell Tate is his breakout year was his junior year, which is kind of a late time. You want to look for guys that have either a freshman or sophomore year dominator ranking or breakout age, simply because the idea is if you're 19 years old and you're playing against 23-year-olds, and if you're already dominating those guys, like let's say like I'm an 8-year-old that's taking piano lessons. If I'm playing Chopin in a recital, I'm probably going to be a good piano player when I'm an adult, right? And so it's kind of that idea. So he does have a later breakout age, which you might be concerned about. But again, I think that he's a safe pick to make, and I think that's the pick that Dallas is going to make. I think it's a safe pick. He's going to be a piece of Dallas's team for years to come, and there's really no question about that. We move on to pick number 3. So pick number 3 gets interesting, mainly for me because this is my pick. I like this pick. I will be taking Jordan Tyson with the 3rd pick. So unlike Dallas, the state of the farm is not in a position where we can be drafting to floor. We are drafting to ceiling. And I think almost inarguably, Jordan Tyson is the most talented and best wide receiver prospect in this entire draft. He is the only wide receiver that I feel like could ever hold elite status in both in the NFL and on a fantasy team. I think he is, his comps are Justin Jefferson.
Sure.
And so just like excellent guys. He lines up inside, he lines up outside. His target share is just crazy. He had a 35% target share in 2025.
That's high.
Which he has good hands. Just kind of an excellent guy. But there's the injury concerns. So there's that lingering hamstring, did not do anything in the combine. I think it's actually April 17th when he's having his pro day. And so a lot of stuff will be determined there, how he looks. He has this hamstring that he's nursing. He also, I think every L in his leg has been torn at some point. So his ACL, his MCL. I feel a little bit okay with that because this season, this 2025 season, while he did have the hamstring issue, this was his recovery season from the MCL and all those injuries. And he was very effective. And so the injury concerns exist. Again, you'd hate to draft a guy with the 3rd pick. You'd hate to draft a guy with the 2nd pick that flames out of the NFL because of injury concerns. That's very real. Availability is huge. But again, the farm is in a position where we have to take a guy with that kind of upside. I really like Jordan Tyson. I think that if you were to pull anybody, again, the best prospect in this draft, but the injury concerns are very real. And if I was a team that was good, I would really be avoiding just any of those concerns. Cardinal Tate does not have question marks. Jordan Tyson has a ton of question marks, but I really am intrigued by him. He's big, too, 6'2", 203 pounds. His breakout... The way I kind of drag on a sentence, I'm sounding a little Mel Kiper-ish. 6'2", 203 pounds.
I did hear Mel Kiper there. I really did.
Yes. He had a 2024 sophomore year breakout, which is kind of cool. So he kind of falls within that. A 7 to 8% drop rate, which is totally within the margins that you're okay with. He lines up about 72% of the time outside, 28% in the slot, so you can kind of put him wherever you want to put him. His 40 time is 4.5, which is totally fine. You'll accept that in the NFL. So, again, I like that prospect. The injury concerns, though, are real. And, again, if you don't have to take that on, I understand not taking that on.
Sure.
Go ahead, John.
I was just going to ask. You said best prospect in this draft. Would you put him up there?
No. Sorry. Best wide receiver prospect.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, let's say you took the injury concerns away for a second. Would there be any debate between him and Jeremiah Love? Like, if I guaranteed you, like, a reasonably healthy career?
So, I would debate it.
Okay.
But I notoriously undervalue the running back position.
Okay.
Especially looking at this league where this is a wide receiver league. You look at the number of slots that you have available that you can put a wide receiver in. There's 2 running back slots. There's this litany of areas that you can plug a wide receiver in. I'm the kind of guy that in a flex spot, I will always want to put a wide receiver over a running back. And so for me, I probably would debate it. I think that for a team, a legitimate wide receiver 1 in this league is more valuable than a top 10 running back.
Okay.
So I would debate that. I think the normal person or maybe a normal person in this league maybe wouldn't debate it. I probably would. But that's just because, like, maybe I've fallen in love with him as a prospect because I think that's where he's going to fall. I just think there's a lot of upside with him. If there were no injury concerns, again, like, he did not play a ton in 2025 because of the hamstring. And, like, the dude was unquestionably the best wide receiver when he was on the field. And so you feel good about him.
Did you guys see who his brother is? Do you guys know who his brother is?
Mm-mm. Is he the one whose brother is on the Cavaliers?
His older brother is Jalen Tyson.
Yes.
Cavaliers.
That's funny.
Players are significantly more likely to have great NFL careers if their brother is also a professional athlete. So,
and I know I'm just like saying Jordan Tyson's praises. I do think there are some legitimate concerns with him outside of the injuries. His separation is not the best, and he doesn't really seem to play through contact. And so a guy that is injury prone, that doesn't separate well, that also like doesn't play through, like, that's a concern. That is, so it's not only are the actual injuries that he has right now a concern, his, you look at guys that have excellent college careers, like they're fast for college, and then they move into the NFL and they're not.
They just can't compete.
That speed doesn't translate.
Yeah.
And so he might be a great college player that doesn't translate, and that is a legitimate risk, but also he has the highest ceiling of any of these wide receivers.
That feels very fair.
Moving on to number 4, this is Evan's pick. I think right here we take Makai Lemon. So I say, like, undebatably Jordan Tyson is the most talented. There is some debate, though, that perhaps the best fantasy football, like, will actually be effective on your team guy is Makai Lemon. There's a lot of love for Makai Lemon, won the Blitnikoff, so, just a dog, a dude. The only questions with Makai Lemon is he's a slot guy. And there are always concerns about, is your wide receiver 1 on your team ever going to be a slot guy? Can you think of a slot guy?
Wes Welker.
But besides a wonderful white slot player.
There are only black slot players.
Yeah.
That narrows it down.
That narrows it down a little bit, yeah.
Well, my understanding is both Justin Jefferson and Jackson Smith-Njigba are primarily slot guys.
Okay. So then, yes, good job, John.
That would be my current understanding.
So in college, the dude lined up, in 2025, he lined up 60% in the slot, 40% outside. So there's a little bit more of a split there. You see that a team's using him. Also, he's going to get drafted in the first round. Like, these wide receivers are going to get drafted in the first round. if a team is investing a first-round pick in a wide receiver, they're not just going to use him in the slot.
Right.
They're going to use him in other, because that would just be like roster mismanagement if you drafted a guy to only use in the slot. But that's primarily where he's used, and I think there are some concerns with that. He's also kind of little. He's 5'11", 192 pounds. He had a junior year breakout level, so maybe that means nothing to you, but kind of a late bloomer. Mm-hmm. His numbers aren't that... He's fast. His 40 time, 4.46. He does receive a top 5 grade in this class across all like wide receiver metrics, though. So, kind of like with Carnell Tate, this is a safe pick. Mm-hmm. I think more so than Carnell Tate, though, Mekhi Lemon is really going to be system dependent. I said this, so we had dinner before we did the pod, and I said this. Amon-Ra St. Brown is really effective because, first of all, because he's an excellent athlete, but also because he's in Detroit's offense. Mm-hmm. I don't think if you were to put Amon-Ra St. Brown in maybe another loaded offense or somewhere else where they're using him a little bit differently, I don't think he would be as successful. And so I think that Mekhi Lemon is going to be a little bit more, like, which team drafts him matters a little bit more.
Sure.
Like, if Carnell Tate goes to the Cleveland Browns, like, that's undesirable, but he will immediately be the best wide receiver on the Cleveland Browns and get a dominant target share. I've seen a lot of Mekhi Lemon to the Rams. All right, immediately you're competing with Puka and Devontae Adams. And so there's a lot of competition. So I think he's a little bit more dependent. But Mekhi Lemon, you will see a lot of analysts like him as a prospect more than Carnell Tate. He is just less safe than Carnell Tate, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, I follow.
Yeah. All right, moving on to pick number 5. This is my dog, Casey Concepcion. I love Casey Concepcion.
Is this a consensus top 5?
I would say this, well, there are 2 outliers. Maybe the 2 biggest brains in the league.
2 people who think they have the biggest brains.
Their words, not mine.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We have Casey Concepcion at 5. I love Casey Concepcion. So there's that consensus of wide receivers where Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, those are the best. To me, I think you plug in Casey Concepcion in that 4th position. I think that he projects to be a weekly starter, I think, on most fantasy football teams. The big question with Casey Concepcion is his hands. The dude has bad hands. It is undeniable. Like, what's his drop rate? Let me find his drop rate here. I think it was like 30%.
Wow.
No.
That's
no.
impossible.
That's impossible.
That's
yes.
so high.
I was looking at something different. So his drop rate, yes, his drop rate is a 9%.
That's still high.
Which is higher than most people.
Still high, but way better than...
Yeah, it's better than 30%. That was his frying pans for hands at that point. Yes, a 9% drop rate. In fact, if you were to enter in his stats to ChatGPT, on a scale of 1 to 10, they would rank his hands at a 6.
Not where you'd want to be.
Pretty sexy 6, though.
A pretty sexy 6. The one thing that really stands out about him is his yak. So again, if you were to put this into ChatGPT, you would see him with a score of a 9. He finishes with a top 5 in the class, with a top 5 yak score in the class. He also, kind of like Mekhi Lemon, is more of a slot guy. You see him lined up outside. So in 2025, I think there was like an 80% slot rate, 20% outside.
Wow.
But the kind of interesting thing about Casey Concepcion, you always hear like the Deebo Samuel, like, oh, we're trying to find the Deebo Samuel in this draft. Now, physically, he's not a Deebo comp, but you do see him, like, when you see, like, designed, like, snaps to a wide receiver for, like, end arounds or, like, sweeps or stuff like that, that's showcasing that an offense is wanting to get that guy the ball.
Right.
And you see a lot of that with Casey Concepcion. So I really like him as a guy. He's fast, bad hands. So again, it's one of those. Again, this is a weak draft. This is a flawed draft. I think in a normal draft, when you're at pick 5, you're not necessarily talking. And I think this is maybe why you struggle to say he's a consensus top 5 pick. But in a normal draft, you probably wouldn't say a guy that has as many question marks as Casey Concepcion would go that high. But in this draft, that's just where he's falling.
Sure.
He is the fifth guy off the board. Again, I'm not necessarily predicting that this is exactly how the order is going to go, but I'm willing to really stake this, that in some order, 1 through 5 will be Jeremiah Love, Cardinal Tate, Jordan Tyson, Nakai Lemon, Casey Concepcion.
See, I think it's really interesting that you're throwing Casey Concepcion in with that top 5, whereas I would think that there were a couple of guys behind him that would maybe challenge that. But you've done your research.
So, I mean, it's not even... To me, there are tiers to this draft. There's a tier 1 that is Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
Then there's the tier 2 guys, which are the Cardinal Tate, Jordan Tyson, Nakai Lemon. Casey Concepcion weirdly falls in this tier 3, and he's almost alone in tier 3, at least in my opinion, where he's not as good, like he's not a greatest prospect as Lemon or Tyson or Tate, but then you start talking about guys like Omar Cooper Jr., well, he's not in that tier either. And so he does fall. Now, Kenyon Sadiq is probably the person that you're thinking of that maybe you would take over Casey Concepcion. And we'll talk about him here in a second. But I feel like he almost stands in a tier of his own. Where, yes.
Sure.
So I'm not even necessarily saying top 5 guys. I'm saying top 4 guys, then a 5.
Feel like a pretty strong block.
And then everybody else down below that.
Okay.
He also had a freshman year dominator score.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. So he, out of everyone in this, has the earliest dominator score. And so, again, if you're in, my position or Adrian's position where you're drafting for ceiling, that's the kind of guy you like. I mean, he has shown success basically everywhere he's been. The offense has tried to get him touches. I'm trying to see in my notes here what his actual... what his target share is, because I think that's interesting.
Because he went to A&M, right?
Yeah, his career target share is 27.2%.
That's very high, yeah.
He also had 41 carries his junior year. Do you know, did they give him... It sounds like they were trying to get him the ball. And
Well, that's what I was saying. When you see carries, when you see like them purposefully like putting him in sweeps or direct... Like you're feeding a guy in your offense. You're making him your offense. So
sure.
I think that Casey Concepcion is, because I think he's going to be a late first rounder. I do think he's going to go in the first round. I think there are going to be 4 wide receivers in this first round at least. So I think he's going to be a later guy. So he's going to be
just really putting a premium on him.
Yeah, they are. Well, and I think it has. I mean, like from a fantasy perspective, we're only looking at like offensive players.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be defensive guys and things like that. But this is such a tremendously weak running back class, and the NFL just has such a premium on not only talented and athletic wide receivers, but also cheap wide receivers. Yeah. So these rookie guys. And so I think a team is going to take a first rounder with Casey Concepcion. Now he could end up going he could end up going to the Browns, like somewhere or he could end up going somewhere really kind of poor. I've seen him to the Raiders a couple times. Not ideal, but I think that offense is going to be... I mean, it has to be better than it was last year. So, I again, of these guys, there's a lot of question marks. He, though, because of the target share that he demands, because of you seeing in offenses them just trying to feed him the ball, the hands are inignorable. The hands are bad. And, teaching catching is hard. I think you see that, Marvin Harrison Jr. is this guy that everybody loves, but the dude does not catch with his body. He only catches with his hands, and that is one of the reasons. I mean, injuries are the other. That's one of the reasons why he averaged 7 fantasy points last year.
He catches with his body.
Catches with his body, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And so, catching the ball is an important part of football. Did you guys know that?
Especially a wide receiver.
Especially for a wide receiver. Some might even say that is the program. Catching the ball is the program. And so I think that there are some concerns there, but I like him a lot. Move on to pick 6. We have Matt up on the board here with pick 6.
He won't have that pick by the time we get there.
That pick will not be there.
But at the time,
all right,
at the moment.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Matt, quote, in quotes, Matt's pick.
Putting myself in the mind of Matt. I heard him on the pod talking about always needing another guy.
He's a piece away.
I'm a piece away. I just need a piece. Give me the piece.
Who's the piece?
I see him trying to get a piece here. I see Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver, Indiana Hoosiers, going to the sprinkles here.
Did we Google him?
We did. And we found out that he wins.
He wins.
Undaunted.
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers. Omar Cooper Jr. right here. Now, I don't love Omar Cooper Jr.
Oh, that's a twist I didn't expect.
So this is a shot at Matt. He's gonna take a guy.
This is not a shot at Matt.
Okay.
This is a shot at the draft. Omar Cooper Jr. is who you are supposed to take with this pick.
Okay.
Not Sadiq.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, you also have to think right here, like, we're actually picking for Matt.
Yeah, I'm putting myself in the mind of Matt. Like, I don't think he's going to take Sadiq.
If he likes his tight end, that's it. Like, who's Matt's tight end right now?
I don't know. Who is his tight end?
I honestly
Mark
don't know.
Andrews?
You have a computer.
I do have a computer. That's how I've been quoting all these facts.
Well, Jacob, can you run through some stuff while we're trying to figure out who Matt's tight end
Yeah,
is?
I'd love to. All right. He finished the season with 69 catches, 937 yards, 13 touchdowns. He has a 2.55 yards per route run, which is good.
Okay.
He works on the perimeter, lines up there about 80% of the time. So he is, again, we talked about like, I don't love slot guys.
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. So, yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was someone notable.
yeah. So I think that...
I concede.
All right, would you rather have Kenyon Sadiq on your team or
Bowers?
Brock
Hey,
Bowers.
he's got a flex in there. You can use his flex on him.
yeah, nothing smarter than using a tight end in your
I did
flex
it a
spot.
few times. Like
That sounds-
Kelsey too.
That sounds like late season farm,
That
just
means-
trying to assemble a roster. We have 2 tight ends in the flex and also a tight
You
end.
have Kittle and McBride.
Had McBride.
That feels better than Kenyon Sadiq and Brock Bowers, right?
It also
Actually,
feels,
I had a 3 tight end lineup this year because I had Gadsden.
Oh,
I
you
had
did
Gadsden,
it. You did
Kittle,
have
and no,
No, because I got Gadsden.
Yeah, you got Gadsden. Never mind.
I don't
There
think
were no
Gadsden
3
and
tight ends.
McBride ever overlapped.
You're right. You're right. I did trade
No.
Gadsden to get McBride. Never mind.
No, they high-fived each other on the way out of the shower.
Listen, you got it.
But there's also a difference
that
between
flex.
stumbling into, like, as it turns out, there are 2 tight ends that are worth starting versus I have Brock Bowers, therefore Kenyon Sadiq joined the team.
Didn't I guess I'm not trying to compare Brock Bowers to Sadiq, but I think Matt had a pretty solid tight end situation before he drafted Bowers.
I believe he had. I'm spacing his name.
didn't
Vikings
want-
tight end.
He
Vikings
didn't
tight
want
end.
to draft Bowers when it happened, but he's like, I have to take Bowers. Sadiq isn't the same kind of prospect.
Sadiq is not the same kind of prospect. And again, draft the best player available, but also you're going to have to draft to need a little bit.
Sure.
If you're Matt, would you rather have Kenyon Sadiq in your flex spot or Omar Cooper Jr.?
I hate Omar Cooper Jr. too, so...
Okay, so...
I mean, I love him as an IU fan,
Conceptually, a good receiver that might go in the first round.
The
is a
dude
better pick.
is going to get drafted, is probably going to get drafted in the first round. Everybody is singing his praises. I mean, I don't love combine risers. I don't love all... But, like, there is a lot of biz buzz.
he's a winner,
He's a winner. That
winner.
translates...
unlike Carnell Tate.
The big concern for me, and this is the reason why I do not love, unlike Carnell Tate, yes,
That's all the way off.
shots.
Carnell Tate has just as many rings.
You don't even like Carnell Tate. Stop defending him.
He's a Buckeye. I got to stand up on business at some point.
So the thing with Omar Cooper Jr. is his breakout is really kind of concerning to me, because he almost doesn't have one. Like,
He's a combine breakout.
he's a combine breakout.
A J.J. McCarthy. if
Like
you will.
this 2025 season is the closest thing to a breakout he has.
Okay.
And I think it just falls. It's either at like 19% target share, so he either falls right in breakout or like just like right on the line of is this a breakout? Now maybe I'm the only person that cares about this. I did draw this up because I knew I was going to be talking a lot about breakout rates, and I don't want, because like everybody has their stupid little stat that they care about and talk about. I know, John, you're a big measurables guy.
Yeah, I like a big, tall guy with a big wingspan that runs fast.
You love big juicy dudes. I get it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
I I think big juicy dudes is a great way to describe your type of player, John.
Fair enough.
So an age 22 plus breakout rate would be considered a red flag.
Okay.
So Omar Cooper Jr. would fall into that. Here's the hit rate on breakout wide receivers. 73% of 18-year-old breakout wide receivers, so that's a freshman year breakout, that were drafted in the first round became top 24 fantasy wide receivers.
At least one time.
Yes. So
top 24 is also pretty broad. So we're talking we're giving a pretty generous.
Let him finish the stat.
I'm saying Jacob's given a pretty generous this is a hit rate.
Okay, I got it. I thought okay.
You would say of that top 24 wide receivers in the NFL, 67.7% of them that had a breakout age of 20 and a half were successful in the NFL.
Okay.
Does that make sense? 67% of people that broke out before age 20 and a half were top 24 wide receivers.
If they were picked in the first round.
If they were picked in the first round.
That drops from 73%, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think it was 73% to 67%.
Got it. Okay.
So it goes from 18-year-old, that's 73%. Yep. Then if it's before 20 or before 21, then it's 67%.
Got it.
93% of top 24 wide receivers in fantasy broke out before the age of 23.
Okay.
So perhaps you don't love the stat as a predictor of success, but with that 93, I feel like you can say it is a predictor of failure.
That feels like a great way to put that.
Or a predictor of concern. And so I am concerned about Omar Cooper Jr. because really there's only one notable season you can talk about. But again, the dude is going to get drafted in the first round. I started this off by saying that draft capital is the number one predictor of fantasy success, breakout being kind of a complementary thing. And so if the dude is drafted in the first round, he showed success at IU, again late, but he showed success. I think if he's in an offense that drafts him with a first-round pick, they're going to be using him. I've seen comps of Omar Cooper to Kansas City.
Okay.
So, you'd love that. Regardless of how concerned you are about Omar Cooper Jr.'s late breakout, if he's getting fed in a good offense, and I know Casey's offense has been questionable, but you feel good about that.
Well, we've also seen Kansas City let's just run with that for a second. He might go to Kansas City. We've seen them prioritize guys they've gotten and taken high, kind of like Xavier Worthy, where it's not always you don't always get why they're trying to prioritize him in the offense, but they are clearly prioritizing him.
So this is a noob question.
Yeah.
But, I watched a lot of IU football, and, for me, I felt like Surratt was, the alpha, and Cooper was, the B
Beta.
option. Why is Cooper getting so much more draft attention than Surratt? Is it the measurables? What is it?
I think it's the measurables. I think it's also how you could deploy him or utilize him in your offense. I know I talked earlier about every you hear this in every draft, they're trying to find the Debo. A dude that is a running back, is a wide receiver. Not that he broke the NFL, but that is that kind of multi-purpose guy
That archetype.
That archetype is excellent. Omar Cooper Jr. in this draft is the Debo comp.
Closest thing, at least.
The closest thing. He's not as thick and big and juicy as you would say. As Debo, but he is that would be his comp in this draft.
Sure.
And so I think teams look at Omar Cooper Jr. and they're we could use him, we could scheme him up much easier than we could do Surratt. And isn't it Cooper that made that insane catch?
Yes.
Honestly, that I think is also a reason why he.
Sure.
Because when you see that kind of big playability and in the moment that it counts, that's the dude that gets the ball. I think that again, and I know I said this is pre-draft, so we're not really taking into account people's locations. Mm-hmm. I think that Cooper is going to go to a desirable location, and I think that with winning pedigree, with what you've seen him do in elite moments, that is going to be. I think the NFL is hotter on Cooper than maybe the fantasy community is. Mm-hmm. And so if the NFL is hot on the guy, I think in this position, he is at this point, consensus draft boards, he is the best available wide receiver. Mm-hmm. I think that's who Matt's going to take.
Okay.
Or, whomever, unless it's a team that's trading with him with high tight end need, Omar Cooper Jr., I think, is going at this slot.
All right.
Coming in with pick 7, this is Caleb. Did you pull up Caleb's roster for us?
I will pull up Caleb. Well, I will, yes. I will on my phone.
Okay.
My it's being difficult.
There we go.
So I have Caleb taking Denzel Boston.
Okay.
Denzel Boston out of Washington. Again, we've talked about like tiers of wide receivers. So I think Casey Concepcion kind of sits in that weird tier of all of his own. If we were to start the next tier, I think Denzel Boston is the top of that next tier of wide receiver.
After Omar Cooper.
No, I think I like Denzel Boston more than Omar Cooper Jr.
Fascinating.
I think that the NFL hype around Omar Cooper Jr. would push his fantasy hype. I think that looking strictly from what kind of wide receiver would I like to have on my team, or what kind of like college prospect does well in the NFL, Denzel Boston is that guy. Omar Cooper Jr. possibly could have a better career. I think Denzel Boston is a better prospect.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
You're saying Matt's a global guy.
I think Matt's he's a sheep. He's following.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm just. I didn't expect you to double down.
To jump on it? I mean, if you're going to feed it,
no, I will.
You know the guy, so
I'm not.
I'll take your word for it.
I didn't have him pick Omar Cooper Jr.
You didn't have him pick anybody. You don't even have him in that pick.
We will not have that pick. He's going to trade it. There's no way he'll have it.
No, I heard some rumors that Matt loves this draft class.
Does he?
Big fan.
He loves Omar Cooper.
He loves Omar Cooper.
Why am I pulling up Caleb's roster?
I just want you to list his current wide receivers on his team.
He's pretty deep. He's got Jordan Addison, who knows, Nico, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Michael Wilson, who had a 1,000-yard season last year. Somehow.
Shocking.
Alec Pierce, $30 million Alec Pierce.
Another 1,000-yard receiver guy.
Yep, Juwan Jennings, Jalen Coker. He's got some options.
Is Juwan Jennings on a roster right now?
No, he's not on a roster right now.
Okay, well, he somehow produces everywhere he goes, regardless of how shitty you think he is. And I have to remind myself that every time. Sorry, I don't like Juwan Jennings, but he just continues to produce. So
in one of my fantasy leagues, my wife is in it, and she was just demolishing. It was a matchup between us, and she was demolishing me one week in fantasy. And as I do when I'm feeling sad, I took a bubble bath. And in the course of that bubble bath, Juwan Jennings scored 4 touchdowns and immediately won me that fantasy matchup. And my wife was in the basement doing laundry, and I was in the bathtub sloshing around in the water singing, "Juwan Jennings is a motherfucking dog." And so Juwan Jennings will always have a special place in my heart. But when you look at that team, there are question marks around wide receiver.
I think he's got much more of a running back need. If I was doing a mock, I think he takes whoever the next best running back is.
Well, that might be a while, because I think the next best running back in this draft might go 3rd round.
Oh, the running backs are so bad.
Maybe not then. I don't know. The
big talk right now is that Seahawks at the back end of the first are going to take a running back.
Who?
So there's Jadarian Price is probably the next running back off the board. So two Notre Dame guys. I think Jonah Coleman has also been tossed around.
Okay.
So there is some talk that the Seahawks. So potentially there is one more running back that has 1st round draft capital.
Well, that automatically probably rockets them up this board, right?
Do you trust Jadarian Price?
Absolutely not. But if we're talking about how weak the receiver class is,
we're talking about how weak the running back class is.
Valid. But if another guy
the
got
receiver
taken
class
in the
is
first,
not weak. the receiver class is weak at the top, but a ton of like dudes that are fine on your team.
Am I the only one who concerns themselves more with landing spot and opportunity more than what their profile is?
The draft hasn't happened yet. We can't talk about that.
Well,
yes,
yeah,
landing spot is important.
You're right. I know, but it's inevitable, as you mentioned. The Seahawks are maybe going to take a running back in the first round. It would make sense for them to do so based off their situation. So what I'm trying to say is, regardless of how strong or weak the running backs are in this class, there will be some that end up on very favorable rosters with very little competition for carries. And for me, that would push a player, even though they're not profiling. And I know that makes it hard to mock, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if we do mock once the draft has happened, I think it's very likely that there's these running backs who look much more attractive in the back end of the first round.
I get what you're saying. I think you got to stand with what Jacob's doing here at this point, though, because you got to think, like, a few years ago, the number one running back in the draft was Blake Corum. And then he goes to, like, if we were doing this exercise then, it'd be yeah, he's probably like the 5th or 7th pick, somewhere in there.
Sure.
On the Rams, it's like this
there's
sucks.
not really a running back who we know is going to be. I get it.
I strongly feel that in our fantasy draft, there will only be 2 running backs taken in the first round.
That might be true. That's very likely. It's very possible.
I think also, like, I know you're saying, like, there are places where these running backs will go that just require someone to take the touches. I think you also saw in this year's free agency, teams were scrambling to get running backs.
Yeah.
Like, Kenny Gainwell to the Buccaneers. Like, to me, that showcases that the Bucs have zero confidence in this running back class. It's like, I would rather have some second-string dude. I know Kenny Gainwell had, like, a good season. But, like, I would rather have some second-string dude on my team than risk drafting one of these guys.
Yeah, that's not how I interpreted that. I thought running back was just going up more as a premium. But that could certainly be true.
I think besides Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, I think that was the only, like, this is a premium position and a premium player that's available. I think he was the only running back that moved that was because of that. I think everything else was whomever this guy is probably better than we could get in the draft.
Yeah. Okay.
But if they signed somewhere, that means they vacated somewhere. So what does Pittsburgh do now?
They run with Jaylen Warren.
Only Jaylen Warren.
The champion
Jaylen
of
Warren.
John's team, Jaylen Warren.
Or maybe they just handed over to Caleb Johnson because
It's time.
he is the future.
Why would you not? Like, if there are already 2 guys there, Jaylen Warren, he's never going to be your lead back.
No.
I think my fear with this running back class is no matter where they get drafted, it's going to be a split role where they go.
That's very possible.
Be true.
It's very possible.
And so it's like
Seattle's the exception. Someone's gonna end up on Seattle more than likely.
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet tore his ACL in February,
so he won't start the season, but he'll play this season.
He might get in.
I'm not saying I'm not saying I love Charbonnet. And that's why I'm saying I think there will be one more running back that goes here.
Okay, I think it's fair to predict a wide receiver going to Caleb's team. He just has much more need of running back. So
I agree. I just don't think this is the draft to do it. And I feel like I don't know.
BPA is real.
I mean, and maybe you guys would know this. Would Caleb?
Caleb actually doesn't give a shit about running backs. So
and I'm not saying this as like I'm not saying this as like a negative, but like would he panic?
No.
And draft to need here. I think Denzel Boston. I mean, like, the dude is the prototype X receiver. He's big. He has good hands. I would hate for him to go here, but he feels like a Steelers wide receiver. He feels like a dude that you just throw the ball to. You have 100% confidence that he's going to catch the ball. Again, if Denzel Boston falls to me at 8, I'm taking him over Kenyon Sadiq. So I think I really like Denzel Boston here in this position. Let me pull up.
It's interesting you point out the Steelers specifically because they've got DK and now Pittman. So he'd probably be slotting into that wide receiver 3 role.
He commanded 45% of his team's air yards in 2025.
Who do you play for?
Washington Huskies.
Well, that's a good school to get that many yards. Yeah.
This is my favorite stat for Denzel Boston. and I know I just talked about how I like Casey Concepcion even though he has bad hands. Denzel Boston only dropped 4 balls in 209 career targets. So in his career, he dropped 4 balls.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And so I feel like at this, again, I understand like where you get drafted to is important and team need is important. I feel like Denzel Boston is too good of a wide receiver prospect here. Again, I think that you could, a team will draft Omar Cooper Jr. higher and will try to deploy him more. But Denzel Boston on a team, maybe they're not like trying to feed him targets, but the targets that he gets will be very effective with.
Sure.
And so I think I could see Denzel Boston going in the first round. I said I'm really confident there'll be 4 wide receivers that go in the first round. I think there could be 5 or 6.
Okay.
I would not be shocked if there are 6 wide receivers that go in the first round. And so if those 6 are Colonel Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Concepcion, Cooper, and Boston, I think those are your guys that potentially could get drafted in the first round. In this league, with the weakness of a running back, that's just why I'm prioritizing wide receivers here. In fact, when I look at my board, I almost feel like I have too many running backs in it.
Okay.
So any more discussion on Denzel Boston?
No. The only thing that I wanted to add was you are starting to talk about this tier of guys where it's kind of like a win-win. Because you're either going at the end of the first round where you're presumably going to a good quarterback,
yeah,
or you're going at the beginning of the second round where you're probably your presumed wide receiver 1 for that team. So there is a little bit, like, I mean, the top of the second round is what? Raiders, Browns, Titans?
Yeah.
All teams that have no heir apparent at wide receiver 1. So obviously that's 3 teams of a lot of guys, but we are talking about, like, there's a pro and a con to all these teams, but these are not like, hey, you're ending up on the Dolphins with Malik Willis. You know what I mean?
Maybe I'm an idiot that you see a guy's going to the... Malik Willis has to throw the ball to someone.
They did trade Jalen Waddle, didn't they? Yeah. They got no one.
And, like, Garrett Wilson has been a good fantasy wide receiver, and the dude has never had someone throw him the ball.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers for a season. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'm not, like, looking at all these guys through rose-tinted glasses, but I feel like... I don't know. I feel like, especially with these wide receivers, to me, the wide receiver depth, there is a run on wide receivers here.
Sure.
I think that in our fantasy draft, there are premium wide receivers. There are premium guys, and then there's guys you'd like to have on your team. And I think there's going to be a run on them where, you know, if I'm sitting at pick 7, if I'm Caleb sitting at pick 7, I am scared because I think Denzel Boston is the last good wide receiver on the board. So I'm going to take him over taking a running back.
It's fair.
Again, Denzel Boston has a 20-25 breakout rate, so a little bit concerning. But at this point, you're drafting at the back end of the first round. Guys that you're drafting have question marks. You're not getting the greatest dudes. And so Denzel Boston, with concerns, with landing spot concerns, I think all of that exists. But I think with the premium demand on wide receiver talent and the run that's going to go on him, that's where I see him going.
Okay.
At pick 8, I'm back on the board. I don't want to take him, but I am taking Kenyon Sadiq.
What do you got to do? That's my guy.
Why do you like Kenyon Sadiq? Can you explain that?
He's a big guy who runs fast.
Okay, he's a big guy that runs fast.
Big juicy man.
A big, juicy man. So, I think measurables are great, but I also think, like, past excellence predicts future success.
You were entirely correct.
And, like, we're all, like, getting rock-hard boners for Kenyon Sadiq and how he performed at the Combine and, like, all of these measurables that he has. But the dude, like, has not had a breakout season. Like, I know, like when you look at Oregon, like, yeah, like, oh, that tight end's catching passes. But he's not, like, commanding an offense. He's not, like, the guy. He's never been the guy.
No.
And so he is the kind of player that you're purely drafting because of measurables and purely drafting because of potential. He's not like a Brock Bowers where, like, in college, like, blew your mind. Like, you know he's going to be good. He's not Colston Loveland where it's like, I know he's past success. He's not even Tyler Warren where, like, you saw a whole team just decide he was going to be your offense. So there are, like, to me, there are concerns with Kenyon Sadiq there. And I feel like of all of the positions, tight end is the hardest to predict, like, how they translate to the NFL. And so, what is it going to take? Like, Kenyon Sadiq 3 years to pop off? Like, I don't think he's going to step into the league and immediately be that guy.
Sure.
I think, like, player comps for Kenyon Sadiq I think his best player comp is Evan Ingram. And so Evan Ingram had a great fantasy career. Kind of tapering off, but, like, there was a time where you were totally comfortable and confident having Evan Ingram in your tight end slot.
Well, if he was playing.
If he was playing. But I don't feel like, you know, you would spend premium draft capital on Kenyon Sadiq. Or on Evan Ingram. And so I see, like, with that comp, with some of the question marks around him, I don't feel like a combine riser and a metrics guy is going to... I think he's going to fall a little bit. I think he's going to fall to 8, and I think it's going to kind of... And there's another guy we're going to talk about where at a certain point, his value just becomes too high to pass up on, and I feel like that's what's going to happen to Kenyon Sadiq. I feel like there are always guys that you probably would rather have on your team than him until we get to the 8 spot, and then it's almost like twisting an arm where it's, all right, I'll take the tight end position. There's too much promise there to take. But I'm not, like, taking him with pick 5 or something.
Sure.
I think it'd be fun to compile a list of big, juicy man tight ends.
Oh,
who had,
yes.
like, incredible measurables, who were, like, freaks on the field, and then you come out there and they, like, don't exist. Like, you don't see them, they don't do anything.
I mean, that was
like,
Kyle Pitts for, like, 90% of his career.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's always hype about these tight ends that are like, oh, man, he's so big and strong and fast, and
maybe I'm just burned. Maybe I'm burned as a Colts fan, and I know it's comparing quarterback to tight end. But, like, I fell in love with Anthony Richardson because I'm like, oh my gosh, his broad jump is so crazy. He can jump so far and jump so high. And then you watch a quarterback play, and it's like, I don't see him...
He can't make a decision.
I don't see him leaping into the air. I don't see him jumping from yard line to yard line. I need to see him throwing the ball accurately.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you look at Kenyon Sadiq, you're like, oh my gosh, his broad jump is 11.5 feet. Or 11, oh, that's so crazy. His vertical jump is insane.
He never gets open.
He doesn't get open. He has drop issues. He dropped 6 drops. He had 6 drops on 70 targets.
It's high.
And so, again, like, you look at him, and for you, again, he's so big. He's so juicy. He can jump so high.
I've never said juicy. I just want to make that clear.
You didn't need to say it. Your eyes said it.
That's...
The pressure that's currently building up underneath the fly of your jeans is telling me that you wanted to say juicy.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Big juicy guy. There it is.
Any more thoughts on Kenyon Sadiq? I mean, I agree, John. The juiciness, like at pick 8, the juiciness cannot be denied.
No.
I think my take is that somebody's going to take him before you say he'll be taken. You're just saying he'll be taken because you don't like him, which is fair.
That's fair. That is
but
totally
someone's
fair.
going to take him before 8, I think.
Secretly, Jacob's got him at like number 3 on his big board.
I
just
joked
opening
you
ball.
all. I wanted him all along.
He's so big and juicy. Yes.
I just am scared of combine risers, and he's a combine riser.
You know what? That's incredibly fair. And especially some of the other guys that like have like T.J. Hawkinson and Kyle Pitts, who have like had legitimate moments in the NFL where like, oh, that guy's actually pretty darn good. Hawk more than Pitts. Those guys produced quite a bit in college before they had incredible combines.
Yes. And again, like when you read his, like if you were to read his player summary, it talks a lot about he looks like the type of tight end that could do this. He looks like the type of tight end with the build to survive a career. he is the kind of tight end that you'd like to bet on. There's never, he is the type of tight end that did this.
Yeah.
Or, so again, there's a lot of, wishes and hopes with Kenyon Sadiq.
That feels fair.
But again, he's going to get drafted in the first round.
Yes.
With his measurables.
Yeah.
Like, there's one other tight end in this draft that I like. I actually like more than him, but his draft capital, like the draft capital, just isn't there. And so with that, again, he is the Kyle Pitts. He's the guy that you cannot pass up on.
Sure.
So that's Kenyon Sadiq. All right, Mac, you've been wanting the next running back off the board. Here we go with pick 9, Jadarian Price. We have Matt taking Jadarian Price with the 9th pick.
He won't have that pick either.
Totally out of the first round. Does not want any part of this draft. Jadarian Price, he's behind Jeremiah Love.
Which you can't blame him for.
But one promising thing about him, you saw Notre Dame actively taking Jeremiah Love out of the game to put Price in. So there is an acknowledgement that he is at least worthy of some level of split with this guy that everybody loves. That, again, because like when you look at top tier running back prospects, Jeremiah Love does not have the workload that those other guys had in college.
Correct.
And I think a lot of it is because there is also just a really good running back that you can use there. And so Jadarian Price, again, I don't like from his measurables, from his like combine testing, he's not the type of player that you like immediately jumps off your board. He may not be, there are other running backs that I think have better profiles. But if there is to be a second running back drafted in the first round of the actual NFL draft, it's probably going to be him, and it's going to be to the Seahawks, and that's an awesome place to be drafted to. He's going to get touches. He showcased that he could be successful, at least with a somewhat limited workload in college. Again, kind of with like the Kenyon Sadiq thing, like at this point, I don't think you can pass on him as a person.
Sure.
Have we ever had a draft in which the first 2 running backs off the board were both
from the same school? That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
We've not had a draft like that. We have had back-to-back years where the running back is the same school. We had Bijan Robinson one year and Jonathan... what was the guy that Will took?
Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks.
R.I.P. Jonathan Brooks.
R.I.P.
So that's more of an injury downhill-ness. But
another kind of cool thing about Jadarian Price is he's small. Like in stature. Not in frame, but in stature. He's 5'10". And so low center of gravity. He just is kind of like a churn and burn dude, which you like. So like if you were to make a player comp for him, it is kind of like Kenneth Walker. And so if he's going to go fill that role, like you feel confident about him in that position.
Sure. You also feel pretty good that if he does go to the Seahawks, like 1 year later, it might be his backfield.
Yeah. He's really efficient in his role too. He's a really efficient running back. And again, in 2025, he had 674 yards and 11 touchdowns, which I think is notable when you're sharing a backfield with Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
He had 113 carries to Jeremiah Love's 200.
Yeah.
So that's not an even split.
It's not an even split, but they're using him.
Yeah.
But 11 rushing touchdowns off of
113
carries.
Okay, can we talk about, though, Notre Dame played Syracuse, Notre Dame played... I'm sorry, we don't need to bring up the Notre Dame strength of schedule discussion, but...
They played college football finalist Miami.
They did play Miami.
He actually got all 11 of those touchdowns against the Anderson Ravens.
Oh, whoa. All right, so we should, double them. They're, every touchdown's worth 2 because of how hard it is to do the Ravens.
Because of just the brick wall that the Ravens are able to assemble upon the goal line.
Played at Anderson Middle School. Most important game ever played there.
All right. Surprise here with the 10th pick. Will has back-to-backs here. So Will has pick 9 and pick 10. No, pick 10 and 11, sorry. So at the turn. So I have Will with pick 10 taking Chris Brazel.
Is that how you say it?
That's how I've been saying it. Chris Brazel.
I don't know. You didn't sound confident, so.
How would you say it, Mac?
I don't know who that is, so.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but am I still allowed to sit here?
That's definitely a first-team All-2026 name draft.
There are so many good names.
Brazel's
Makai
pretty good.
Lemon, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Love, Casey Concepcion.
I feel like you're just putting some pizzazz on all these names.
They're all great names.
That's fair.
Also, Casey Concepcion is a pop star from. Anyway, I don't know if that's a coincidence. Tell us about Brazil Boy.
Brazil. All right, he had a 2023 Tulane breakout. Draft stock really surged in 2025.
This is your first big reach, by the way.
You think so?
According to the rankings, yes.
Okay.
I had to scroll.
Okay, you had to scroll for it.
Did.
Second page.
So, on yards per reception, he's rated top 5 in this wide receiver class. I think a lot of the sourness on him, you will notice the college he went to is Tennessee. And much like drafting a quarterback from Ohio, you are scared to draft a wide receiver from Tennessee.
Is that Alabama?
Who went there and struggled? What's the track record there?
I don't know. It's bad.
It's bad.
Mac, can you name any good receiver in the NFL ever who has gone to Tennessee?
It sounded notorious, like, oh, we don't like kind of the Ohio State quarterback thing.
Look up bad receivers from Tennessee.
Bad receiver. It's gonna go to the Titans, you know.
Yes. Yes. Treylon Burks.
Oh, you talk. I'll look up famous volunteer wide receivers.
There is just, and maybe you can't even name any, but there is this stigma around Tennessee wide receivers that that's not someone you want to take. Lines up 70% outside, 30% inside. He's a perimeter-oriented player. Again, I think that if he went anywhere but Tennessee, you would like him more as a prospect.
Absolutely.
I think you'd see him a little bit higher. And again, besides, there's a couple other guys, wide receivers on this list, but there's still a lot of question marks around them. I think Chris Brazel is a all-around good wide receiver. He's going to get drafted in the second round, most likely. Going to go to a good team. Going to play well. It is just the fact that he's a Tennessee wide receiver. Like when I was hearing people talk about him, they're like, "Don't let it affect you." The hype, like he could be the one that actually. So I have Chris Brazel going right here. Then coming in with pick 11, I have Mike Washington, running back.
Okay.
Are any of you familiar with Mike Washington, running back?
I've definitely heard the name. I don't know too much about the draft stock.
Okay, so reading my notes.
There are a lot of wide receivers who went to Tennessee and played in the NFL. There are so many mid wide receivers.
Yes.
Can I go over the names I've heard of?
Yes, please.
Cedric Wilson. I'm skipping the ones I haven't heard of.
Okay.
Cedric Tillman. Dante Thornton. Dante Stallworth. He's probably the best one. Peerless Price. Josh Palmer. Denarius Moore. Anthony Miller. Bub Means.
Bub.
Robert Meacham. Velas Jones. Current Bear. Juwan Jennings.
All right.
Jalen Hyatt.
Elite.
Marquez Callaway. Cordarrelle Patterson. There's not a single one there that you're like... Dante Stallworth had a pretty good career, but that's...
Cordero Patterson might be a Hall of Famer.
Who?
Cordero Patterson?
As a running back.
For a returner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stallworth had a good career, but did not have a 1,000-yard season. So, anyway. Yeah, no, I get the criticism. There's no precedent of anyone returning. Anyway.
So, when we look at Mike Washington, Arkansas, he's a late breakout, so he had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, which is cool. So 2024, 2025, back-to-back, he averaged 6.4 yards per carry, which is good. Really efficient running back. and I think he's the one. So last year at the Combine, Michelle Tootin set the record for like most athletic or highest athletic score of any running back prospect that came through the Combine. This year, Mike Washington beat his record. So Mike Washington is the most athletic running back that has ever gone through the Combine. So again, you don't love a Combine riser, but when you take a Combine riser that has 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, you feel pretty good about that.
Sure.
I'm only seeing one.
You're only seeing one?
I do.
Is it yards from scrimmage?
725 yards his 4th year in college.
Okay. All right, well, maybe 1, maybe 2.
Maybe 2. Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. Maybe all 4 years.
Nope, just 1.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right in front of me.
All right, cool.
I have a computer, you have a paper, so.
F my paper. F my stupid little paper. So that's Mike Washington. Again, like, I'm getting to the point where, like, I can sit and expound on some of these guys for a while, but some of the guys I struggle where, I've said that the running back class is kind of weak.
You had me at measurables, Jacob.
And so the measurables seal the deal right here, I feel like.
Any other guys in the the next 7 you really want to highlight?
Yeah, I do.
We can do rapid fire through the ones.
We definitely want to cover the one John takes.
You definitely don't have to.
Are you speeding me along? Do you feel like I've talked for too long, Jack?
No.
No.
It's the second round.
All right. Yeah, who cares about the second round? All right.
I actually do feel that way. I don't care about the second round.
All right.
I mean, sorry, if you want to...
No. All right, so we have, we've picked 12. I have Eli Stowers, tight end. He's the tight end that was quarterback converted to tight end. I like him quite a bit.
Where do you go to school?
Where did he go to school?
I have a computer. It's fine.
Can you stop interrupting me and seek your own answers?
I can.
What do you got on him?
So he's a combine riser, performed well at the combine, but unlike Kenyon Sadiq, you do see... so he's kind of like a Dalton Kincaid.
Okay.
Where any team that drafts him is exclusively using him as a wide receiver, essentially.
Okay.
His blocking's an issue.
And so his blocking isn't it, but like you can kind of feel a level, maybe you are scared if he's going to get on the field, but you have a level of confidence when he is on the field, he's getting the ball.
Yeah.
And like Dalton Kincaid is a tight end that you might feel comfortable. I mean, like I know there are like elite tight ends. Outside of that elite, Dalton Kincaid is a tight end that you're totally comfortable being on your team.
Yeah.
And so with him, I feel like he's going to go to a team. Again, he doesn't have necessarily that draft capital. He's not going in the first round. But this is a guy that is, it's almost one of those cheat code tight ends where you know he's only going to be receiving the ball. And so I like him quite a bit. Again, I think for the value, I like him as a prospect more than Kenyon Sadiq. I feel like there's a little bit more of a pedigree. Again, like I feel weird taking a tight end 8th overall that never had like a big season.
Well,
sure.
Eli Stowers is known more for catching the ball as opposed to having measurables. So
True, yes. So
we like tight ends who catch.
Yeah, but is he juicy?
He's
And
6'4",
also-
235.
That's
I have
certified
this-
juicy.
I have this weird love and dream of like sliding Taysom Hill into your tight end spot, and then he throws for a touchdown. Eli Stowers provides you that quarterback tight end ability where it's like, oh, I put him in as a tight end, but now he's throwing a touchdown.
There was
Kind
that-
of a quarterback.
There was
He's
that
kind
one
of-
week where Taysom Hill started at quarterback and you could play him at tight end.
And
Yes,
they changed
That
it
was
the following
amazing.
week.
They did.
Didn't Taysom Hill like get a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and caught a touchdown all in the same
Yeah.
game?
It like set a record.
So think about this. Think about this right here, Ethan. You could potentially have a player that is throwing for a touchdown, rushing for a touchdown, and catching a touchdown in every game that you put him in that slot.
Well, and if anyone was going to take a tight end who was also a quarterback somehow, it would be Ethan.
Yeah. Got to get those tight ends.
Got to get
and
those tight end
quarterbacks.
quarterbacks.
So I like Eli Stowers there. Emmett Johnson, I am taking with the 13th pick if I still have it.
Ooh.
Emmett Johnson,
He's trading it to Matt.
I think when you look at, he really wants that 13th pick. Emmett Johnson, I think from a just traditional running back perspective, is kind of uninspiring. Like you're not like he's fine, he's good. He's an excellent pass catcher, and he is a guy that not only are you just like flinging it to, he's someone that you can line up in the outside and like actually acts. And I feel like with running backs, a lot like that pass catching ability, especially like if you're not just like a true dominator, that's where a lot of your value comes from.
So you're kind of hoping he goes to an offense that wants Devon Achane.
Yes. So you want, yes, exactly. Also, I think he finished 4th in this class in broke tackle rate.
Oh, pretty good.
Which is good. And so, again, at this point with running backs, you know, there's not a ton that you feel really good about. And so I'm fine taking a decent athletic profile, but probably one of the better pass-catching running backs in this. I like him as a running back prospect. I have Dallas coming in with pick 14, another running back off the board. I have Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman's just a big body, big guy. Athletically, I don't think you're super impressed, but like talking about just like big, juicy dudes, Jonah Coleman is a big, juicy dude. Then we have at pick 15, John Yaney is on the clock. How did I figure out how did I guess who John is going to draft? I entered into ChatGPT, who has the best measurables in this draft?
Still available.
That's still available. And it spat out and said, Jonathan Yaney is going to fall in love with Nicholas Singleton, running back. What school is he from, Jonathan?
No clue.
No clue.
I know that one.
Yeah?
Penn State.
Penn
He
State.
played there a
Oh,
long
there we
time.
go.
Yeah, he played there a long time. My notes on him, in all caps, big and also fast.
I love it.
I don't think anything needs to be said there.
You know, it's funny. One of my biggest, I'm standing on a table for these guys in ODL draft history is Devon Achane, who's just the smallest guy.
Small, but fast.
Small, but fast.
Yes, but I love all caps, big and also fast.
Love it.
Pick 16, Jeremy Bernard.
Great name.
At this point,
That's
thank
number
you
one,
it
right?
is a great name. At this point in the draft, I started to get to the point. This is my pick. And I was like, there's some guys available. I think the name Jeremy is fun.
Yeah.
Not Jeremy, Jeremy. And so it's Germie, Jeremy. I like Jeremy. So I'm taking Jeremy. And maybe that is a juvenile way to pick, but I like Jeremy. Then at pick 17, I have Caleb taking Chris Bell.
Okay.
Chris Bell injured himself this season. But he has the A.J. Brown comp. He's the kind of guy from this draft. It's like, ooh, that's A.J. Brown. I think that's A.J. Brown. And so he's probably not going to be A.J. Brown. But
what if he was?
But if he was. And when you're at pick 17, you have a guy that before he was injured, like at the start of the 2025 season, eyes were on him. He has a great comp. At pick 16, or at pick 17, I feel like Caleb is in the position that he can take that flyer.
Yeah.
You know, he could be a nothing burger, but also Chris Bell could be the steal of the draft at 17. With, in the second round in this draft, there's very little risk taking him. Then I have myself at 18, taking Elijah Surratt. So you asked me earlier, why would anyone want to take Omar Cooper Jr. over Elijah Surratt? Mm-hmm. I agree with you. That is why I am taking Elijah Surratt here. And then at pick 19...
I do want to add something real quick.
Yes.
So far, you have Elijah Surratt as the biggest faller from where they're ranked on Fantasy Pros for Dynasty rookies.
Where is he supposed to go?
He's supposed to go 13. That's the biggest drop. That's a bigger drop than Sadiq. So it's interesting. I think maybe the fantasy world is a little higher.
So did they have Elijah Surratt over Chris Brazel?
They did.
Okay.
You had Brazel as the highest riser.
Yeah.
They had him at 17.
Okay.
And then they had there's someone that's a higher drop than Surratt, but it's for obvious reasons, which I can go over at the end.
Mendoza.
It is Mendoza.
Yeah.
Which We'll see.
Yeah,
So
super flexible.
to transition into Mendoza, I have Mendoza going 19th
That's about
to
right.
Dallas.
It's about where we start taking quarterbacks.
That would be.
I feel like that's a good point to take him. When you look at the teams in this league, I feel like Dallas is a team that potentially is competing next year. And Trevor Lawrence is his starting quarterback.
Did he deal Mahomes? He had Mahomes. Does he not have Mahomes anymore?
Well, Mahomes might miss a chunk of next season.
He'll be ready.
You think?
I do.
It was like a week 14 ACL tear.
I think he will be ready.
Okay.
I know I said Charbonnet wouldn't be. They're going to find a way to make him ready, I think.
Sure.
He's going to have like an Iron Man suit.
I don't know.
The
They're
Daniel
gonna
Jones
invent
special.
some new...
like...
He has Brock Purdy.
Okay.
He has Brock Purdy. He has Anthony Richardson. I doubt he gets kept.
My dog.
He does have Mahomes.
Okay.
He has Purdy probably to hold the fort.
Okay.
So he may not, but...
So maybe not take Mendoza here, but I feel like Mendoza, I don't think he's going to start this year, or at least not all year.
Not right away.
I love that Cousins is mentoring him.
Oh
That's
my
the
gosh,
sunniest,
yes.
That's the sunniest QB room.
Think
It's
about...
A shockingly
They're gonna
great
put it-
decision by the Raiders.
I think every
so
single
smart.
Kohl's in the Las Vegas area is going to go out of business with how much Kohl's cash both Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins are racking up.
They're shorting the Coles cash
Yes.
market.
Yes.
I don't know if Mendoza has any Broadway or thespian experience, but I know Kirk Cousins was like the star of his high school like musicals. He's a big Broadway guy.
Do you think we could get like a Vegas residency show?
I want like a 2-man show with
Yes.
Mendoza and Cousins just cooking.
Or, crazy thought here, Kirk Cousins plays Kurt Signetti in the IU movie.
He can't do that.
What if
he
they
does not have that range?
So Kirk Cousins' dad is a pastor, right?
He's
yeah.
a famous Christian. Yeah.
So what if Kirk and Mendoza like church plant
They totally would though.
in Vegas?
So good.
Where you have Kirk O'Chains picking up the mantle of his father to become the head pastor of a church, and then you have Fernando Mendoza in the role of his life as the youth pastor of the Las Vegas Raiders Church of God.
You just gets up there for his first week of sermons. You've been asking yourself if you like that, but have you been asking yourself, does he like that?
Does he like that?
It's golden.
And then in their little
You
like,
mean Al? You mean Mark Davis?
yeah,
No, not
Fernando
that.
Mendoza.
Not that man upstairs.
Fernando Mendoza. Welcome, teens, to Surge. Before we start things off, oh glory to God!
Go Raiders!
Go Raiders! All right, and then wrapping up, I have Zachariah Branch going to Mac White.
Why?
The 20th pick.
Why?
Because you don't
I
care.
waited an hour
I don't.
for Zachariah Branch.
We just feel like you're a piece away.
This is why you were here. You just wanted to know. You just tuned out until you're one piece away, and that piece is Zachariah Branch.
There's a good chance I trade that pick.
no,
I will be taking Katron Allen.
because of the name Katron.
That's a pretty cool name.
That is a cool name.
This has some sick names in this draft.
Zachariah Branch. There have been some talk, like Mel Kiper and Field Yates got in an argument where Mel Kiper was like, Zachariah Branch is going in the first round.
Oh, well then I will be taking him.
And
20?
and Field Yates is like, there's absolutely no way. And then every single other person that has ever talked about the draft agrees
There's no way.
that Branch is not going in the first round. And so I feel like that's the kind of thing, as someone that really just hasn't seemed to care about this draft,
Or in the draft for that.
I
matter.
feel like you would be like, Zachary Branch.
I heard he's supposed to go in the first.
Yeah, my boy Mel. I'm sorry, that took forever. I probably gave too much information and sound like an absolute putz.
Oh, no. Our people are telling us constantly, we want longer podcasts. We're at an hour and a half.
Damn.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing.
I think half of it was about KC Concepcion and maybe not. Half of it was about big juicy men.
That was about
It
to
a lot
I
of
think
big
half the
juicy
pod
men.
was just Jacob
That's
talking
the-
about the guys that he wants to draft on his
That's
team.
the pod name, right? It's gotta be.
Big
It's
juicy guys.
absolutely going to be a big, juicy mock draft.
Give us Fantasy Pros.
You just want me to go
Yeah.
down?
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. Like, I don't know how. Did you consult it at all?
No.
Okay, like you're spot on through the first like 10 or so. Not spot on, but like it's just like
Very
that's one reason that was
reasonable
actually going to be one of my criticisms of your mock was when we actually draft. There's always dudes. I feel like sometimes that just kind of, but not in the first 7.
Chris
though.
Brazzle.
Maybe not.
Brazzle's doing
I will say, I
great.
think as a league, we've gotten a lot better at drafting. As I think we've kind of mellowed out as far as having those big surprises. But 1 was Love, 2 Tate. You flipped Lemon and Tyson, but as we talked about, they had Lemon 3, Tyson 4. But
Yeah.
5 was Concepcion. 6 is Sadiq. 7 Boston. 8 Cooper. So I mean, really the top 8. 9 they had Stowers tight end out of Vandy.
Okay.
But I think at this point it's kind of like pick your poison. They had Price at 10.
Okay.
They had Coleman at 11, so a little higher than you did. Mendoza 12. Quarterbacks are always higher in fantasy pros, I think, than our league. Surratt at 13. We talked about that. Washington you had in that range. Emmett Johnson you had in that range. Singleton at 16 you had in that range. Brazel you liked more than they do. Katron Allen is another one you didn't have him drafted. He's at 18, but like he's at 18, so top 20. Who cares? Chris Bell. They had Ty Simpson, Jeremy Bernard, Zachariah Branch. I think that's it. So I think like of your 20, 18 of them were in the top 20. I think.
So some other notable guys that I don't have being drafted in this worthless mock. Well, and I say worthless because again it's pre-draft. Like it means nothing.
With a giant grain of salt.
This was just an hour and a half excuse to talk about college football players. But there's some other guys I like. I think Antonio Williams is a wide receiver that I would not be surprised if he went in the first 2 rounds. And Skylar Bell. I like Skylar Bell quite a bit.
Yeah.
Skylar Bell's out of UConn. He actually finished the 2025 season with the second most receiving yards.
Runner-up for the Blitnikoff Award.
He was the runner-up for the Blitnikoff. And so, again, like, UConn wide receiver, okay, but productive. And if you were to reach on a Skylar Bell, just because it's a guy you like, that makes total sense to me. If you were to reach on an Antonio Williams, just because it's a guy you like, I can see any of those guys going in the first 2 rounds.
Sure. Makes total sense to me. I think this is off the dome, but I think the average in the last, like, since 2020 is 5 receivers get taken in the first round and 6 in the second. So we're talking about, like, a lot of guys who have good draft stock being used on them. So.
And I know, like, everybody's down on the 2026 draft.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of shit players.
It's a bunch of shit, but like
it's a lot of defense. That's why people are down on it.
But I really feel like we're gonna look back on this draft like from a fantasy perspective, and I think we'll agree that it's a weak draft. But people will be able to easily point to pieces on their team that came from this draft. Like this is not a worthless draft. I think especially in those like top 8 picks, those are good dudes. Those are like in a normal draft, they probably wouldn't be that high, but those are all guys that like you would see go in a first round or early second and be fine with.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this a little bit off pod, but for the benefit of the listener, we've talked before about like weak drafts versus strong drafts, and there's definitely a difference with like guys at the top. So the strongest rookie drafts that we've seen in our time with ODL were 2021 and 2024, where like Jamar Chase. And like Malik Neighbors and guys like that are sitting at the top. Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously didn't pan out, but you have these guys where it's like, oh yeah, the top of these drafts, these are like the best receivers in the league. But even in our weaker drafts, they tend to be good to about the same spot in the draft as we think the stronger drafts are. It's just the highs aren't as high. So like 2022, number 1 overall pick, Breece Hall. Then Jameson Williams, Drake London, and he's the highlight of the draft. You have those kind of guys. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Kenneth Walker. We thought that, James Cook, we thought that was a terrible draft when it happened. Mm-hmm. And then, a few years later, we get to 2024, and it's like, oh, this is going to be an incredible draft. Marvin Harrison looks like an absolute miss right now. Brian Thomas fell off an absolute cliff. Caleb Williams somehow got taken 4th overall. So if you look at those kind of things...
Oh, Caleb Williams. Sorry. I heard Caleb Johnson, and I was so confused.
No.
Also, Xavier Worthy.
Sorry. Yeah, he had a rough second
year. What do you mean? Xavier is on your team.
I know. He sucked. He sucked for you, and he sucked for me. He sucked for everyone.
He had a rough second year.
I'm buying it. I'm buying in. He's going to be awesome next year.
I'm just saying, generally until about pick 7 to 9 in every single draft, it's like you're going to get a good player, and there are misses in there. But until that point in the draft, generally, it's pretty good.
So, who is your... It's not a rookie. Give me your 2026 NFL season breakout player.
Mac, you got someone?
Give me a minute.
This is going to be really unoriginal and incredibly predictable for me. I think Marvin Harrison breaks out now that Kyler Murray's not throwing the ball.
So you think the problem was Kyler?
I don't think it was exclusively Kyler, but I think it was a way bigger percentage than people wanted to talk about.
So what about the vast majority of the season that Jacoby Brissett played?
He was better. He wasn't good, but he was better.
Was he better?
I'm just saying the Cardinals are eating a lot of money for Kyler Murray to not be their quarterback. I don't think that means nothing.
They should have kept him, because this year's Call of Duty was bad.
That's true.
And if Call of Duty is just following this trend of just like pumping out dumpies, then
you're going to see a progressive increase in Kyler Murray's ability.
So my guy for 2026, and I feel like I have to say this as well, it is, and I am consciously making the effort to have a change of heart on this player.
Okay.
It is Matthew Golden. What did I see in 2025 to make me feel like he'll be successful? Nothing. What did I see during his college career? 5 games where he was okay, he was good. But he's on my team. He's my new ride or die.
What does the trade log show you?
Well, he's worth Bijan.
Straight up.
Straight up. It was Bijan for Matthew Golden straight up.
I think you included draft comp for that.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, Bijan plus 2 first for Matthew Golden.
Well, don't say I don't say
you, Jacob Hendricks.
When I look at the Farms roster, and I promise I will get to a point where I don't bitch about this anymore. But when I look at my roster, I'm like, God, you know what one player I would love to have on this team? Bijan Robinson. It's like, oh man, this rebuild would be much easier if I had Bijan Robinson. But thank Christ, I have Matthew Golden and like Evans' first round pick and like a second rounder, or like, thank God Evan talked Adrian out of an additional first round pick at the last minute.
I forgot about that. Oh, so good. Mac, do you have your breakout guy?
Yeah. It's not one of your guys, Jacob. I like A.O. Manor.
A.O. Manor, yes.
I love A.O.
Okay,
Manor.
here's what
the
I think
opportunity.
somebody on the Titans. It'll be somebody on the Titans.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the Titans are not going to be great, but I feel like Cam Ward, I think, showed
I
some
think they're going to be a
towards the
fun
end of the
team to
year.
watch.
I think he's going to, I mean, I just think there's going to be growth there. I don't trust Ridley. I think Wandale will do Wandale.
Yeah.
And I think there's one young guy, and A.O. Manor looked good on tape last year when I watched him, and he's only a 4th round pick. I wish he was like a 2nd round pick.
Yeah.
Make me feel a little better about it, but
just
I
feel
don't know.
like
I feel it's a hot take, but I just was trying to think of somebody. I feel like
They used him a lot last year, though.
They did. I
For a
mean,
4th rounder, they used him a lot.
They did. He was. Now I don't know if that was by necessity.
It was that. Yeah.
Okay,
But that's how he got. I feel like that's how he got his.
why he sucks. Then
I'm not telling you why he sucks. I'm telling you, name 3 Titans wide receivers.
Okay.
I could do. DK.
DK, Calvin Ridley,
The different. The
A.O. Manor.
A.O. Manor. Done.
Wandale.
Fair enough.
Wandale. Oh, Restrepo.
All right, you guys have gotten to 5, which is 3 more than I thought you'd get to.
Restrepo didn't make the team though.
Okay, my point being more like they were hurt and or bad all season. Like, might as well play your rookies and see what you got.
I agree with that, but like
Okay,
that
you took the number 1 overall pick from the draft a year ago. What a breakout. Bum. Sorry. I was trying to get spicy.
All right, Jacob, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. John is over this.
I want to go home.
Hey, I do real quick before you go. Are we allowed? I don't know league etiquette for this. Are we allowed to complain about trades that we've received publicly, or is that a no-no?
You can. Just keep in mind that there's an above-average chance it will get back to the person you're complaining about.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's buyer beware. So, probably not. We'll go off the record, and if you subscribe to our Patreon, you'll be able to hear us talk about
Yes.
all of the
Subscribe to
shitty
the-
trades
to the
we've
Patreon.
received in the last week.
It's not even just it's not a shitty trade. I just was unaware that Marvin Harrison Jr. was worth a 3rd overall pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of varying opinions on what he's worth. Who knows?
Yeah, there's about 7,000 moving parts to that one.
There's just so much like value. Like you've have to spend so much value on him. Like you want something. He's kind of like Travis Hunter at this point.
I don't even.
It's like what are you going to get, a 2nd rounder for Travis Hunter? But like you would never
You're going
trade
down
Travis.
with that ship.
You would never trade. You go down with the ship.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he even floated him, but John, I have a question for you. You talked the whole pod about how he catches with his body and how he's.
I talked the whole pod about that.
Didn't you talk about how he catches with his body?
I was an observer to that
Oh,
conversation.
that was
I
Jacob.
talked about
All right, you talked about how he quote hasn't panned or didn't pan out.
He's not currently what
He has not
anyone
panned
thought
out
he would
yet.
be at all. No.
Sorry, I got mixed up with the Hams conversation.
Look, I still love my guy. I still think that he has a chance of being a great receiver, but like what anyone was projecting for his ceiling is just not gonna happen.
Probably not.
So
I
what
don't
I
even
think,
think it's probably. I think it's just out of the cards.
what I think would be interesting is post NFL draft revisiting this list
Absolutely.
and seeing how things actually fall, because I think there's going to be a lot of change ups.
Yeah, I mean,
landing spot. This feels like a very landing spot important draft, even more than other years.
yeah.
I agree.
I think Jeremiah Love's number 1 no matter what.
Where's he
But,
going?
Top
I
10.
think Titans.
You think Titans?
I do.
Yeah.
That's just, you know what I kind of like? I like a sneaky Giants.
Replace
They
Scadaboo.
love Scadaboo. I think they love Scadaboo.
It's not a replace Scadaboo. Then you have Sonic and Knuckles in.
You don't draft
York.
Jeremiah Love to split with Cam Scadaboo.
I'm not
But-
sure
but
he's
you-
the
but-
Knuckles in that situation.
But you draft Jameer Gibbs to split with David Montgomery.
I'm just saying, Jackson Dart loves Scadaboo. The team loves Scadaboo. I think you kind of mess with the zeitgeist there.
I think from a football standpoint, I'd be kind of bummed if they were like, yeah, we just don't believe in Scadaboo.
I don't think it's a not believe in Scadaboo. Okay,
Wow,
whatever.
that's a lot to invest in.
That's a lot to invest
A
in.
guy
We
that-
believe in our guy.
Scadaboo, we love you as a 10 carry or 5 carry a night.
We're going to
backup.
use the 4th overall pick to show you how much we believe in you.
They want to have a new friend.
It's like introducing 2 dogs to
Yes.
each other.
With the 4th overall pick, the 5th overall pick, the New York Giants select Jeremiah Love, friend.
Excellent friend. Notre Dame University.
Oh my gosh. All right.
And then instead of the commissioner giving him the hug, Cam Scadaboo comes out.
They take him off his leash.
Yes.
Runs out. All right.
That's
Pleasure.
it.
Jacob, Mac, do either of you have anything else to add?
No, don't give me that window.
Fair enough. Jacob?
I'm good.
All right. Thank you, loyal listeners. We look forward to season 2 of the Mac and John iteration of the OD.
And welcome back to another episode of the Office Dynasty League podcast.
John, that was a shitty intro.
It's the same intro I always have.
I just wanted to hear how it sounds, so I'm just
Yeah, just
giving you
doing a-
shit
doing a
because
test
this is
around the
face-
room.
This is just I'd beat a shit face because it's only 30 seconds and we're just seeing how it sounds.
That's fair.
All right.
No. I want Jacob to talk.
You want the full 30 seconds. We have 10 seconds to milk.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
want to see how it sounds.
Can we all do some vocal warm-ups real
It's
quick?
probably la 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 la.
Red
la.
leather, yellow leather.
You said red leather.
Unique
Did I?
New
Yeah.
York.
Well, that kind of defeats the
Unique
point.
New York.
All right, that's 30.